So I'm here with Bernie Davis, and Bernie, first of all, congratulations on your award.
Thank you very much. I am really thrilled.
And could you start off by just telling us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Right, so okay, I am a lawyer originally, and I came to the United Kingdom in the year 2000 and started my career here in property law, and then I moved straight into entrepreneurship, and I haven't looked back since.
But so your award is for public speaking.
Yes.
Yeah, something which you've done at an extremely high level,
Yes.
really. Can you tell us all about what the main focus of that is and where you've spoken?
Right, well, I've spoken at the United Nations. I've spoken in my bedroom. So from the high and the lows. I've spoken at the House of Lords, Royal Society, Excel Arena, you name it. I've spoken at the very highest levels. And like I said, and I've spoken just with people in a room like this, talking about life and what matters. But what got me into speaking, I guess what it is when there's a message that needs to go out, somebody's got to tell it. And I have found that I've just been drawn into this message about people knowing who they are, embracing the best version of themselves, using that knowledge and that core knowledge about their values and what moves and what drives them. Why are they here? Because we're all here for a purpose. And when they know that, then they can weave that into their business brand. They can weave that into their business strategies. They can create then out of that their business culture. They can then replicate that in the leaders that they develop in terms of their management teams. They can also serve and solve problems with those in mind so they know who their target market is, because we all are not fit for everybody. So when you know who you are, what you bring in, why you're bringing it, and then you therefore know who is your audience, who are the people you need to be serving, and how long you need to serve them for, because there's also this knowledge of knowing when you need to shift gears, as COVID taught us, yeah. When you need to shift gears. So I got into speaking because I started first as a lawyer, as I told you, and then I started training, and then I started realizing that I was really good at training. And in fact, my staff preferred me better when I trained them as opposed to when I managed them, because I'm I'm a strict manager. But I've made them feel so empowered. So that's how I got into it. And I then got pulled into the whole diversity and inclusion part of things, okay, which was a natural thing. Of course, because of how I presented, people thought I would understand the cause. But I didn't necessarily understand it in the beginning, because I am from Jamaica, where color wasn't a big thing. Mm-hmm. I was from a prominent family, so I didn't understand the whole thing of the concept of being othered or feeling excluded. But as I kept, we need to keep our eyes open and our ears open. It's not just about us. So as I kept my eyes and my ears open, I saw the need, and I realized that there is more to life than my own lived experience. I started to learn about the lived experiences of others, and I found how I could help. And that I found speaking to be one of the greatest ways of helping, because you have one-to-one, speaking is one-to-many.
And diversity and inclusion, it's, as you were going into there, is such a broad topic, and it touches on lots of areas from race to age and sexual orientation, yes, and disability, yes, and so forth. Yes. For businesses or, yes, or for institutions, education, whatever it is, how important or what are the benefits of having a diverse environment?
Oh gosh. It's an extremely important benefit, and it's something we need to focus on. And we lose if we don't do that. And we lose financially if we don't do it. Because when we think of diversity, we think you just name some of the protected characteristics. But what about cognitive diversity? What about looking at bringing in people who think differently? We talk about disruptive thinking, and there's this new phrase, disruptive thinking. But when people come with disruptive thinking, we say you're disruptive. We use the other definition of disruptive then, don't we? Right? But we need to have disruptive, innovative thinkers. And I spoke with somebody the other day. He's a head of a big manufacturing research company up in North Wales. And their whole organization is so diverse. And I asked him, how did he get it so diverse? He said, what we did, we just looked for the talent, but we looked far and wide. and without even trying to get diversity in terms of how people looked and all the various characteristics, they found diversity. So when people say people are hard to reach, that's not true. But to go back to your original question, what's the benefit of diversity and inclusion in your organization? Well, first of all, it makes us more rounded people. We need to understand that we're in a world that is not just our own. And so we first learn how to deal with other cultures. So it helps us when we go out into the environment and into the communities. But then it also helps us to deal with our customers, because our customers are from all across. And in Wales, in particular, where I am, it's a diverse culture. So how are you going to serve your customers if you only have close association with the people who look and feel and think like you? But then, think about the money you can make when you have all these diverse people with diverse ways of thinking and solving problems coming into your business. They have a healthy environment. They feel equal. They are treated equitably. Allyship is key. Allyship, that's a huge thing. Yeah? And that is where people of influence make it their duty to make the people who are minoritized within their sphere of influence feel that they belong. When that happens, what you then have is a culture where people are happy to come to work. You get less people off sick. Mm-hmm. So staff retention is good. Yes. Your bottom line is going to be better.
Yep.
Staff well-being is going to be good. How can that not be good?
And finally, Bernie, I just wanted to go back to public speaking just for a moment and sort of finish on that, because it is an art form.
Yes.
Isn't it? Especially to be a successful one.
Yes.
And part of that, what you've mentioned earlier, is having that strong and clear message.
Yes, a clear message.
How key is that to being recognised on a level where you can start making that difference?
To my mind, it is integral and it's imperative. If you don't have a clear message that's going to change people, then don't speak. That's my feeling. Otherwise, you are just a sounding gong or a clamoring cymbal. That's what they say in the Bible. I'm quoting scripture. No, but seriously, a true public speaker is one who gets to the heart of a matter. Mm-hmm. It's one who changes hearts and minds. There's a saying that says, the mind of man, once expanded, cannot resume its original position. I am in the mind expansion business. Anyone who takes on public speaking as an art form or as a purpose or as a way of earning income, they need to actually have mind expansion at the heart of it. When somebody leaves your company, they should be saying, I didn't think of that. Oh, let me check that out. Oh, let me consider that. If you don't get that kind of reaction, you've wasted your time.
Yeah.
And I have been in audiences before where I've had people, even grown men, well up afterwards because of what I've said to them, and I didn't even realize that I'd be touching that. When you start to do that, then you realize the true meaning and the true reason for these awards. It's positioning for purpose. It's not positioning for fame and acclaim. It's positioning for an opportunity to make a difference, because that's what life is all about. As a public speaker, you have the opportunity to speak not one-to-one, but one-to-many. Don't waste it.
Congratulations on your award again. Thanks very much for taking time to speak to us today.
My absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Bernie, public speaking, of course, is a huge aspect of what you do, but you're also a published author as well. Can you tell us about what you have written in the past?
Right. So I've written 4 books, but the 2 I'd like to bring to your attention today for the purposes of this interview is my business book, Your Business, Your Way, which talks about how you find the uniqueness in you and your business, how you own it, bottle it, and sell it. What I call your U-print. We all have one of those. Wherever we go, we leave it behind, whether by default or on purpose. But when we understand what our U-print is, meaning what is it that makes us who we are, the authentic version of ourselves, and we then imprint that in our businesses and in how we treat with people, then that is when the magic happens. The other one is Mastering Diversity. We go together or not at all. And that is all about diversity and inclusion, which I've spoken to you about understanding. It's not just about the many characteristics of diversity and inclusion, but you can have a set of people who are the same, all white people. And if you should do a sample of them and you watch them and put them all together for 7 days, they will find ways to distinguish themselves, whether it's from the region that they originated, whether it's the color of their hair, whether it's the size, whether they're obese or they're skinny, whether it's the accent that they have. We find ways, whether you have a straight nose or a stubby nose, we find ways to distinguish ourselves because we want to be in power. It's a power struggle. So we need to understand that the whole diversity and inclusion conundrum is not just about the usual characteristics. So in my book, I put that concept together, and I've been using it to train at a very high level. And I work together with the Welsh government, the banks, the universities, and I sit on boards where at a strategic level I'm able to give that kind of support. So those are the 2 books I'd like to mention.